Come on in. This is the Daily Bern. We're going to start in just a minute. I give a little bit of time for people to get in, like, and share because I need time to do that. So come on in. Let's see. Make sure we're up and live. That's the whole point of the music, is to do an audio check so that I can sneak out, make sure that you can hear. Because you don't know how many times I've sat here and talked to myself. But hey, Lisa, Susan, Heath, Jack, Carol, Edward, we got a good group here. Everybody's here. We got some people here on YouTube. We're up and live. So we'll start in just a minute. So go ahead and share this out. Thanks for coming, guys. But welcome back, though. Welcome back to the Daily Bern. I'm Sean, and this is the war room of the political revolution. What this is a motivational show built for all of us who are out there fighting every day in this political revolution. And we gather here every weeknight and we discuss this fight. We talk about this fight. We talk about what we're up against. We talk about what we're going up against, what we're facing, what our challenges are, but we own this fight in here. We are believers in here. And we know that it is us who must make this happen, that we have to do the work to make these changes become reality. And we have to be the ones that are committed to doing that. Because we understand that Bernie Sanders is a great man and politician who has done great work during his life fighting for the people and building a movement to empower the people to make real change. I'm a big fan of Bernie's. Love the guy. But in the end, Bernie is just one man, and he cannot do any of this without us. So if you understand that this change must happen, and you are willing to put in the work to make it happen, then you have found your people. Come on in and remember to like and share, because we're just an independent little grassroots show, and I depend on you guys to get this out there and spread this message. And please take part in the show. We are live, and I love to hear from you guys. We always have a really good discussion, and we will get to the comments section here really soon. And there's always a great crowd here. Plus, any interaction in the show helps us out because it tricks the algorithm into thinking that this must be good because people are liking and commenting. Hence, I should show it to more people. So smash those like buttons and comment away, even if you're here later on, even if you're watching after the live. We get a lot of views after the live, but they're always quiet. Please participate, because as everyone knows, you cannot be late to a Daily Bern. Anytime you're here, you are right on time. But thanks a lot for coming, guys. Let's go ahead and get started with the Bern, and then we'll get to our comments and our discussion and talk about what's going on. But lately on the Berns, there has been a pretty constant theme, and you may have noticed it. We've been talking about belief and courage a lot, about faith and determination, about never quitting no matter what happens. And there's a good reason for that. And that reason is because that is all that matters, really. Now, I'm a believer. My faith and belief that this change is not only possible, but will happen, is at this point unshakable. Nothing could make me quit at this point because I have the vision to see the world that we are looking to create, and I have decided to accept nothing less. I sit and I imagine this world where people are protected and secure in a society that is built on justice and compassion, with a prosperous future for humanity, and that world has become real to me. I reject this society. See, that's what makes us special, those of us that are fighting in this revolution, because we can see a better world. We have vision. Not everyone does. Most people can only see what's right in front of them. They lack imagination. and they have restrained themselves mentally, but not us. We can see that better world. And more than that, we have the courage to believe that it is possible, and the determination and will to put in the work to do whatever it takes to get it. Now, that belief and determination is why this is going to succeed. And that's why I stress it so much in the Berns lately. And honestly, Bernie was stressing it a lot at his rallies before those all came to an end as well. Because belief is very powerful. Envision the world you want to see and how you want things to be in that world, and then believe that you can make it real. Because you can. Our reality, our existence, ends up becoming a reflection of what we tolerate. When we're unhappy with things in our lives, but we tolerate them instead of eliminating them, we allow them to exist. And we don't have to tolerate this greed-based, warmongering, unjust society anymore. We can change it. We are changing it right now. Just take a moment real quick, and instead of focusing on how insane things are right now, focus instead on how far we've come, how we've changed the entire narrative. We even have they're lying, they're pandering, they're not ever going to do it, but we have all the shills pushing for things like Medicare for all, living wage, things that they would never have ever even pretended to fight for in the past. We've changed the whole narrative. We've done so much. Now ask yourself if you're willing to quit after coming this far and all that we've accomplished. Are you willing to sit back down and tolerate this greed-based predatory system that only benefits the few at the expense of the many? To cease our fight when we're so close to accomplishing our goals? No. I'm sure your answer is just like mine. It actually was a little more colorful than that. I had to fight an F-bomb at this point in the Bern because there is no quit. There is no backing down. There is no negotiation or middle ground. This fight, this revolution moves forward no matter what. And it will be our belief that carries us through to victory. Now, nothing worth having is easy. And we want to change the world. We want to completely overhaul our society and change it into one of justice and compassion for the people. That's huge, what we want to do. Now, did any one of us, anybody, think that that would be easy? Now, I didn't expect this madness. This is complete insanity, but no one could have. They held meetings. They had strategy in place. There was planning involved. That was out in the open. The Stop Burning movement. They were trying to figure out how to stop our revolution before it ever got going. Everything you've seen play out is orchestrated. This is a concentrated effort to stop us. And then you add a global pandemic on top of that. But I'm a believer. Like I said, this is going to happen. This must happen. And I don't care if the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse ride down from the heavens. I ain't quitting this fight. Therefore, I pay very little to no attention to the mainstream media. A lot of times, like yesterday, I talked about Whoopi Goldberg on The View and her little show that she put on trying to berate Bernie Sanders. The only reason why I knew about that is because I saw people outraged over it, and I went and looked it up. I don't watch the mainstream media. I pay no attention to it, zero. And you will feel much better if you do the same. Completely pull away from it. Unplug from it entirely. It is our enemy. So even if you're watching it out of curiosity or just to stay up on it, you're helping them. Pull yourself away from it. You're going to feel better. And I also pay little to very no attention to polls. I don't care about them. They're rigged anyway. We know that. We understand that. They're manipulated. They're not a good gauge of anything. Look at what they told you was going to happen in 2016. That Hillary was going to walk away with it. It was going to be a blowout. Trump didn't stand a chance. Was any of that true? And that's why I don't care much for polls. Because I already know that we will be told no every possible way that they can. They're going to say it's impossible. It can't happen. It'll never happen. All the way up until it does happen. Everything is impossible until it's done. And there are always people lined up to tell you things can't be done, no matter what you're trying to do. And again, we're trying to change the world. So literally everything is set against us. And there are a lot of forces trying to break our spirit, because that's the only way they can win. That's all they can do at this point, is break our spirit. Get rid of that belief. That's why I focus on it so much. That's really why I think Bernie was focusing on it too. Because this is going to be a dirty fight. And this is a fight. This is the most important fight probably in our nation's history. Because we've been bought off. Our country has been bought. And these people have enriched themselves at the expense of society, and it must be brought to an end. It's not an election. So I care little about the election at this point anymore. The primary itself. This revolution moves forward no matter what. No matter what. This change happens no matter what. So I don't pay any attention to most of it. I pretty much follow my independent media sources that I trust and the Bern notice for my information on the Bernie campaign. I don't listen to nothing coming out of the mainstream media. I don't pay any attention to it. I've made my mind up already. This is happening. This has to happen. And I'm not taking no for an answer. I will see a world where healthcare is a right guaranteed to every citizen. I will see an end put to the hold that the military-industrial complex has over our society and the endless war that it creates. And I will see a society of justice and compassion that works for the many and not the few. So, like I'm saying, belief is really the most important thing, I think. Because that's what's going to drive us through. People that win, people that succeed, they don't do so because it was just really easy for them. They do so because every time they get stopped, or they get knocked down, or they get told no, they get more creative, they adapt, they overcome, and they keep moving forward. That's how it's done. Now we're trying to change this whole system, and it's fighting back against us. And it's going to make it look like we're losing all the way up until the end. Hell, its main weapon is a media propaganda machine. So what else would it do? And all war is deception. So turn off that box, remove all negativity, and just believe that we can do this. And know that this is the way that change has always happened. The only way that change can happen. What we're doing right now will be remembered historically. It sadly won't be reported on as it's going on, but it will be remembered in history as the time that we changed the course of this country and changed the world. We are doing a massive thing here. It's much bigger than an election. Well, let me see. I want to look at what you guys have been saying. I've been rattling on for a little bit. And what I was trying to say is that I believe that we can do this in an unshakable way. So sometimes I'm literally triggered by the news. when I do force myself to look at it, because I host this show, so I have to kind of keep myself as informed as I can, right? I have to look at some mainstream media. I hate it. I can't stand it. It feels dirty the whole time I'm doing it. It's weaponized propaganda, and it's garbage. He says, I heard Bernie's working on a second stimulus package. Well, I hope he protects the people from the fact that they robbed us blind in the first one. They robbed us blind, and it was a heavily flawed plan. I understand they're helping, and I understand Bernie got a lot of good added into the stimulus package. I'm not putting it down. I'm saying that the elites enrich themselves greatly at our expense. I missed some stuff. Carol's talking about somebody trying to postpone an election. What is that? Trying to postpone the primary election in Wisconsin, but no, they won't. Well, they're trying to suppress the vote. They're trying to keep people from coming out. They want low voter turnout. Well, they're going to hold a primary where everybody has to stand 6 feet away from each other. We're going to social distance caucus and stuff like that. We need to postpone these events, but they're not going to, because they want to cut down on voter turnout. Susan said, I learned so much from this show. My interactions with Bideners has changed significantly. Well, I love hearing that. Carol says the stimulus package is called number 4. I'll have to look it up. He says sending our kids to die so some corporations can make a few bucks. That's what we're doing. It can't go on. It can't continue. Hey, Lindsay, good to see you over here. YouTube's crowd is not being very talkative tonight, but Facebook I'm still catching up with. I can tell what part I was at right here. I'm going back through your comments, and everybody's saying hell no, F no. I know what I was saying then. I'm caught up now, I think. Carol says we need to support the workers at Amazon and boycott. Fight with your money. That's all they understand. Yes, join up with Amazon. Boycott Amazon. We really need to be starting to think about things like a general strike. You know, we have different roles, us and Bernie. That's kind of the beauty of it. We have the freedom to do what we need to do in our best interest, and he works in the political arena. That's a lot of people forget that we have 2 different jobs. Our function is to spread truth and awareness and excitement and get people involved, be the ground game, be the media, and fight back against the establishment the best we can. Bernie's job is to sell everyone who is too bullheaded to be able to see what he offers and inform them and educate them. But we need to start thinking about things like boycotts and general strikes and fighting back with our money. That's all they understand. Lisa says F-bomb Whoopi Goldberg. Man, I'm so mad at her. I really am disgusted with Whoopi Goldberg. And I used to be a fan. A lot of you know that I'm a stand-up comic. I grew up on comedy. I love comedy. I loved her as a comedian, and I used to love her movies. But once I learned who she really is, I can't believe I was ever a fan. It makes me sad. I want to get all the way caught up so that I want to just make sure I don't miss anything important that you guys said. Joan says so many people have already lost their health care. 10 million people have filed for unemployment. They can't keep up with the claims. This is bad. And people are losing their health care. Your health care should not be tied to your job. You know, and a lot of people are going to realize that the hard way coming up real soon. Nobody can afford the kind of treatment that they would need now if they got sick. She's absolutely right. And that's terrifying. We're in the middle of a global crisis, and America is projected to be hit very hard because of our rigged up, greedy, underprepared, underfunded medical system. We know it needs to be heavily reformed. The greed-based system has shown what kind of care they provide, and they've also shown their morals. They'll charge you $20 for an aspirin, paying 16 times more than they pay in other countries for medication because of this greed-based system. This greed-based system is killing thousands of people every year. It has to be brought to an end. It has to stop. It has to be destroyed. And that's why anytime somebody makes that realization and they use that in an argument, when they go, well, that would mean the whole healthcare industry, the insurance industry and all that would die. Good. Good. I'm glad. It needs to. It's killing people. This system, it has to stop. He says, and stand with your body at the places where those workers are striking. Stand shoulder to shoulder. We are going to have to do as much direct action as possible. And we've partnered up before with this. There's a page, a movement actually, but there's a page you can go to find out about the movement. The Bernie or Vest page, hashtag Bernie or Vest, all one word. Go to that page. Learn about the movement, because it is a commitment to following through this fight all the way and into direct action, into taking to the streets. This is Bernie or Vest. This is not Bernie or Bust. Steve says this whole crisis seems to be a way to move wealth to the elites. They will buy everything up dirt cheap. They're going to take advantage of this. They already are. They did that with this first stimulus package. That was disguised as for the people, but it was clearly for the elites. Lisa says the lack of insulin is literally killing people. It's disgusting what is going on. Did you see when Bernie took that busload of people up to Canada to buy insulin? The mothers crying, talking about how they've had to ration it and how they just paid a tenth of what they pay for the same medicine, just right over the border. It's crazy. Yeah, Heath, 78,000 people a year die because of lack of quality health insurance, quality health coverage, health care, access to it. Phil says Bernie Sanders was right when he said Medicare for all. There's no question that is the way this country must go, and get rid of this giant corporation called insurance. All they do is spin money wheel, and if it goes up and up, the house wins. You lose. The house always wins. The insurance industry always wins. They're a rigged, heartless industry, and their greed has gotten out of hand. They need to be taken down. They need to be stopped. We can't allow it anymore. Like I said in the Bern, I was trying to get the point across anyway. I refuse to tolerate it anymore. We don't have to accept these things. We don't have to tolerate them. We can change things. There's so many people that want to tell you it's impossible, but it is for them. If you really believe you can't do it, then you can't. And that's why believing that you can is so important. Because we can have better. We don't have to accept things the way they are. Steve says next year, if you're lucky enough to be working, your medical will go up 40%. Good thing we're going to win this fight, Steve. This has to happen. This must happen, and our time is now. You know, we can do this. No matter what is going on and how crazy it gets, we can do this. And I don't think Bernie's going anywhere. But like I said, it's Bernie or vest. This moves forward no matter what. But really, I don't think he could drop out at this point. I think he's stuck. If he really cares about all he's worked for his whole life, and he even really cares about beating Trump, there's no way for him to responsibly drop out. He couldn't, even if he wanted to. And no matter what, we don't back down. This must happen. Steve says Trump is hinting at expanding Medicare. Isn't it funny how this crisis has made people embrace socialism? They hate when you call it that. Like, the Trump people are loving this stimulus package, and they're talking about their $1,200 checks that Trump has gotten for them, which was only a fraction of the stimulus package. Matter of fact, if it was on a pie chart, it would be a sliver. So, table scraps basically, but they're loving it. But don't tell them it's a socialism check. They don't like hearing that. Brittany says, did you see scientists are saying the coronavirus is passed through talking and breathing in each other's airspace? And we can't even get enough gloves and masks for our medical staff, and we need them. This is insane. And there's a lot that Trump hasn't done, like activate some of these emergency distribution methods. And why haven't they flooded the funding to the unemployment division, for example, so that they can handle the massive amount of claims that are coming in? Like I said, 10 million people went on unemployment or filed for unemployment this past week. Lisa says the stimulus for the people was only to bail out the banks and finance companies. It's exactly right. Joan says Bernie won't do that to his grandchildren. I really don't believe he can. I've tried making it make sense, because you know how it is. We argue with these people all the time. So I've had it said to me a million times, just wait until Bernie drops out and endorses Biden. And I've thought about it from every angle, and there's literally no way he could do it. Biden will lose, no matter how hard Bernie worked for him. Biden could pick Bernie as his VP, and he'd still lose. Biden is going to get torn to shreds by Donald Trump. And they think we're mean. These Biden guys, the people that are pushing Biden online, they think we're mean. Wait until the Trump supporters get a hold of them. Biden will lose. Always would have, without his mental problems. But if you add that into the equation, we know that he's mentally unfit. He won't make it till July. He can't get through a live feed. He won't make it. He can't be president. He would never win. It would be embarrassing globally. This election, this farce that would happen between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And then you couple that with the fact that all of the worst things about Trump, especially the harassment allegations, Biden shares those and has a credible rape allegation against him now. If Biden cared about anything, he would step down, but he won't, which traps Bernie Sanders. I really don't think he could. But no matter what he does, we keep moving forward. Carol says any blue won't do, Bernie or vest. Any blue won't do. It's insanity. Blue, no matter who, is literally insanity. It is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You can't keep electing people who have proven to you time and time again that they do not have your best interests at heart, that they're lying to you, pandering to you. A lot of times they won't even tell the lie. They won't even lie to you that, hey, I'll fight for that for you. They straight out tell you, you can't have that. Healthcare? You want healthcare? Oh, I don't care that it's done everywhere else in the world. We'll never do that here. Steve says things are going to reach a breaking point. It's inevitable. If peaceful revolution is made impossible, violent revolution becomes inevitable. It will happen. You can only push people so far. Edward says that's the push with Cuomo lately. Isn't that disgusting? Like they can just draw names out of a hat. You've got people on media platforms talking about Cuomo being a replacement for Joe Biden. Pretty sure we've been having a primary. And I don't care. I don't give a rat's ass that the DNC is a private corporation. This is an election in the United States of America, and we will not stand for what happened in 2016. And we are more powerful than we were in 2016. He says Trump would spank Biden hard. Trump will embarrass him. Embarrass Joe Biden. Luckily, it won't come to that. Jones says Biden might not even be standing by November. He looks sick. He does look sick. He looks ill. There is something wrong with him. There's hundreds of examples of it. I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. Everybody in this room is aware of the cognitive problems with Joe Biden, but he's already a fundamentally flawed candidate. Because as we just got done talking about, blue no matter who is the definition of insanity. Joe Biden has worked against the American people his entire career. All he's ever shown you is that he has the interest of big money and endless war. He's shown you nothing else, and that can't be. We can't accept that anymore. We can't tolerate it. And what the Democratic Party has become can't be tolerated. They need to be destroyed, torn down, and rebuilt into something that is actually in the interest of the people, instead of an illusion meant to distract them. Go in there, oh, I'll pull the blue lever. The blue guys care about the people, right? Well, what have they shown you? So this manipulation has to stop. It's theatrics. We don't have a real political system. We have theatrics. Half of it is a corporation that doesn't even feel like they need to follow their rules or hold a fair primary. They must be torn down. The DNC needs to go. You're right, Jack. They will relent or they will be destroyed. This fight continues forward. He says violent revolution has happened in the past. If you ignore history, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's another thing that's very frustrating about dealing with these Biden supporters and these blue no matter who's, because they ignore history. We've been down this road. We've tried warning you. You didn't listen before. You're doing it again. Steve says there's a movement towards a People's Party. It's too late for this cycle, though. I think Bernie will get the Democratic nomination. I think that their plan will fall apart. I don't think Bernie will drop out. And we covered the reasons why I don't think he will. But the DNC's plan was desperate to begin with and is unraveling. So it will not succeed. Edward says people are starting to wake up. The winds of change are coming, and we have the wind at our backs. We have the momentum needed to win here. We're too big to rig, honestly. You wouldn't see the media acting so irrationally and the DNC themselves acting so irrationally if we weren't a threat. They would disregard us. There wouldn't be all of this planning and meetings and organized strategy to stop us. We're dangerous, and they're afraid of us. So we do not stop. We keep moving forward and we make this happen. And it is Bernie or Vest. Jason says, look what 9/11 did for Giuliani. Cuomo's a shoo-in. Cuomo's not going to be the nominee. You can't just pull Cuomo out of your ass halfway through the primary. And if Americans stand for this, there is no hope. Can't let this happen. No matter how you feel politically, if we let another election be rigged in this country, there is no hope for us politically. None. And this election is being rigged, and that's a fact. Jones says people will be in such terrible place by November. Bernie just has to make it known that he has done for the people throughout this tragedy and keep himself out there and do all the things that he is doing. Bernie's doing a fantastic job. Bernie has slipped comfortably into the role of president and is doing great. I'm very proud of what Bernie's doing. But Jones' right. People are going to be in a very difficult spot come November. Things are getting ready to get very bad for most people. They're already getting bad. And they're going to get worse. And Bernie's platform, Bernie's ideas, what we're fighting for, this revolution is the answer to what is happening and what is coming. It's the only answer. This is the only fight happening, and people's eyes are going to be open to that, whether they like it or not. It's going to be impossible to ignore. And then we just need to fill our role in that. And that is capitalizing on it. Informing people, showing them, hey, look at this. Look at what this is exposing. They're worried about their health care. We have the answer to that. Did you know that all around the world they guarantee health care to their people? Did you know that it's cheaper? It gives you the opportunity to start explaining it to people. People want these things. They don't understand them. And the media's job is to confuse them and misinform them. So they're heavily brainwashed and dealing with a lot of misinformation. Billions of dollars are being spent on propaganda right now to distract people and misinform people about Medicare for All. So we inform them and teach them and show them. That's why I've always loved that Bernie owns the democratic socialism term and doesn't shy away from it. Because I've seen people say over and over again that he should. Well, he shouldn't. Because you need to inform people and teach them. Can't move them forward, leaving them dumbed down. We have to raise them up with us. And that's why we're winning. That's why this is going to work. I don't believe in politics. I'm not an expert on politics. I don't follow politics. I don't care about politics. I care about this revolution. Because as a student of history, this is the way change takes place. It's the only way change takes place, and it's always been that way. That's what I believe in. This is a movement, not an election. This is a fight. Those are the reasons why I'm involved. This is real. Kathy says, hey, Kathy. Lisa says, all day, every day. We fight all day, every day. Because we must, and because this is our time, and a better opportunity is not coming along. Steve says, is there going to be an April debate or not? I don't know, man. I don't know. That is a good question. You know, Biden doesn't even want to participate, doesn't think he needs to, says there's been enough debates. Where is he anyway? Has anybody seen Joe Biden? What's he doing? He's not leading. I know that. He says, I would rather share Star Wars memes than political ones. Yeah, I don't care about politics. I care about this revolution. I care about this fight because it is a revolution and because Bernie has empowered the people. That is what will make this happen. That's why it's going to happen. And it's been a little all over the place, but I was hoping to get a point across, and I hope I did, that if we believe and do the work, we can do absolutely anything. And they're on the ropes. The way they're acting completely irrational. The media. That's who I gauge off of. That's their weapon. The media is acting very irrational. The DNC is being very irrational. They're losing. We're winning. So just keep doing all you can. Keep fighting. Go to BernieSanders.com. See if there's any way that you can help out. Maybe you have more free time now. I know I do. So maybe there's something you can do. There's a lot of social media stuff. There's texting, different things. So check that out. And anything you can do. Share truth. Talk to people. Inform people. Everything you can do. Just do everything you can. And we can win this. We will win this. We have to keep moving forward no matter what. There has to be enough believers doing the work and driving this forward. We don't need everybody to be at that level of commitment, but we need a strong enough core. And we have millions of volunteers that have signed up and dedicated themselves to this fight, and there are millions more that feel the way that we all feel. We have that core. We have the momentum. We have the ability to make this happen. So let's keep moving forward and make it happen. And don't pay attention to anything telling you it can't be done, because that's not true, and it can be done. We are doing it right now. And thank you again. You know, I try to do this every time I remember, but thank you to everybody who's fighting out there. All of you guys, I see you all the time out there on social media and fighting the good fight and spreading truth and awareness. And I just want you to know I appreciate it. I appreciate each one of you that is willing to fight for someone that you don't know. And fight for something just because it's right, and we know that it's right, and we know that it must happen. I really appreciate it. Biden says we don't need Medicare for all. You know, he's still struggling to fight for Obamacare. He wants to bring back the penalty for not having insurance. Who would want to do that? That was one of the worst things about Obamacare. Penalizing someone because they can't afford insurance. He wants to bring that back. He thinks that's a good thing. But thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for hanging out. This has been the Daily Bern. We do this every day at 7, every weeknight at 7 Central Time. I realize that I never say what time zone I'm talking about. Central. And I only use Central because that's what's easiest for me to remember, because that's where I live. And I know Eastern is the more popularly used time by TV and all that. I use Central because that's where I am. But every night at 7, come and hang out. We talk about this fight, and we're dedicated to it. So if you're a believer, and if you believe that we can do this, and you know that it must be done, hang out with us. And anytime you're feeling down in this fight, there'll be a Daily Bern you can come to and remind yourself that there are other people that are dedicated to this as well, and you are not alone. You are part of millions in a massive revolution that is going to be responsible for bringing justice and compassion to society. This is enormous, and we're going to win. Not Bernie, us. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, guys, and I really appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow on the next episode of the Daily Bern. Keep fighting out there.